Hey guys, it's Mike here, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing every time Goku surpassed Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z, or really the original Dragon Ball manga. A little while back on my channel, I actually talked about every time Vegeta surpassed Goku in the Dragon Ball franchise, which you could check out in the top right corner of your screen or on my channel. Now, I'm showing the other side of the coin, and talking about every time that our main protagonist, Son Goku, surpassed his greatest rival of Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans. So, let's get into that right now. But before we begin, I want to tell you all about today's sponsor, Flexispot. Flexispot is an awesome company that makes great standing desks, adjustable beds, fitness machines, and that much more. And they were kind enough to send over this desk that you could see right here, which is the Kamhar electric standing desk with a drawer and adjustable frame. And I got it with the bamboo top and the black frame. And these desks have loads of different customization that you could choose from with different colors, different tops, and that much more. And what I really like about this desk is the fact that not only is it sturdy and really easy to set up, but the fact that it has this drawer that lets me store my keyboard and other accessories that I use on my computer in my daily life, as well as the ability to completely adjust the height to either sit or stand in complete comfort when you're doing your job or when you're gaming or having fun, like you could see me right here. And all of this is incredibly easy thanks to this keypad you could see right here, where you can raise it, lower it, either have these preset options right here for different heights, and also comes with USBs so that I could charge my phone or other devices, and also a child safety lock just in case. And listen how smooth and quiet this is. Way better than my previous desk in terms of overall quietness and ease of use. Smooth, effortless, and really great overall. So I definitely recommend checking this out. If you go down below in the description, you'll be able to use my special link to get your own Flexispot desk today. Now with that being said, let's get back to the video. So of course, when Vegeta first showed up in the Dragon Ball story, he was way more powerful than Goku. Not only was he vastly more powerful than Goku, who had just died when he fought against Raditz, but even when Goku showed up after his training with King Kai, his base power level was only a little over 8,000, whereas Vegeta's base was 18,000. However, one way that you might be able to consider Goku surpassing Vegeta in this sense is if you include the Kaioken. Typically, I don't include it in this situation, however, Vegeta sometimes may very well have. Because the fact that, as we see here, during the fight between the two of them, Vegeta went full power to his 100% of 18,000, making the entire planet tremble, and then proceeded to immediately start to wreck Goku, as we could see right here. Goku, as his Kaioken times 2, or his base Kaioken, was not able to even fully avoid Vegeta's attacks, and was having Vegeta get the better of him. This is what caused Goku to use his Kaioken times 3 against the wishes and the will of King Kai, or Kaio-sama. And this is something that was pushing Goku's power to being 24,000 plus, which of course was greater than the power that Vegeta was able to put out with his normal power level. This led to Goku punching Vegeta and causing him to be put in his place temporarily again, until Vegeta decided to rev this up, and in his rage, when his pride was shattered, as I talked about in another video you could see in the cards, what ended up happening, Vegeta went to use his Gallic Gun and destroy the entire planet. Goku used Kaioken times 3 in order just to match Vegeta's power, which means that Vegeta's power with the Kaioken was able to amplify his power level to being over 24,000, and Goku had to use his Kaioken times 4 in order to overpower Vegeta. So if anyone wants to count Kaioken here, then you can say that Goku did technically surpass Vegeta using a technique, but overall I feel like it's best in order for us to be able to instead go relying upon his base power level without the use of a technique that really destroys his entire body just by using it. It wasn't even able to allow him to get the victory, especially if we take into account the fact that Vegeta does have Ozaru, which increases his power level by 10 times, and what he ended up using in order to ultimately defeat Goku, as you could see right here, transforming into the state and then crushing Goku with this ultimate power, or the ultimate dormant power of the Saiyans, until of course the next arc where we see the true legendary transformation on display. Now after the fight between Vegeta and Goku, what ended up happening was that Vegeta ended up getting a Zenkai boost where his power was pushed above his 18,000 to being over 20,000. At that point, what ended up happening was that Vegeta continued to get Zenkai boosts all throughout his fights on Namek, and this propelled him above the last power level that we saw of Goku even with the Kaioken. However, during all the time in which Vegeta was powering up, getting to over 30,000 at this point, as you could see, what was happening with Goku? Well, Goku is also training really hard after he recovered on his way to planet Namek. Training at this point, as we could see here, under a gravitation of 100 Gs, 100 times Earth's gravity, 10 times what he did on King Kai's planet, which is what ultimately propelled him to be over 10 times stronger than he was during the fight against Vegeta, especially when he was using Zenkais himself, which the narration states right here. Around and around he goes, working his body in chi almost to death, and then refreshing himself by eating the sensu, as the 7 beans given him by Master Karin are already down to 3. Whether he realizes it or not, Goku is living and reliving one of the primal cycles of the Saiyans, gaining strength by facing and overcoming death. And we saw that strength fully on display when Goku finally touched down on Namek, putting his power way above not just Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin, but also way above the Ginyu Force members underneath of Captain Ginyu. And he was able to use that power in order to effortlessly defeat Recoome, who is tanking all of the attacks of everyone on display by hitting him, as you could see right here, with one tremendous blow. In the middle of Recoome actually charging up his final attack, which is something that they never really do very often after Dragon Ball Z. But as you could see right here, he left himself open, so Goku decided to put him down with ease. And this ended up continuing up until when we saw Goku's true power on display. For Goku had a power level of 90,000 as base form at this point. However, when he revved up his power, he actually surpassed not only the power level that Captain Ginyu figured of 85,000, but with the Kaioken, took him way beyond that to being 180,000, as you could see down here in the bottom left. And that's only Kaioken times 1, or times 2 rather, because the fact that what ended up happening, well, Goku at this point could use Kaioken times 10 probably, which means that he could have increased his power all the way up to 900,000. But again, for Goku's base form, it was 90,000, which Vegeta would go on to surpass, because Goku would get his body taken over by Captain Ginyu, and Vegeta decided to unleash upon him after this point, beating him down, putting him into the ground, and then into a healing chamber. After his fight against the Ginyu Force, Vegeta's body had leveled himself up to being able to actually pose a threat to Frieza in his first or weakest form. You could even say it's his 4th form. I talked about in depth how Zenkai boosts work in the top right that you could see on your screen. But again, one thing that happened is that Frieza went to charge down Vegeta, all powered up and draped in his armor or ki barrier. And what ended up happening, Vegeta was able to restrain him in place. And as Vegeta said, all of them together, him, Gohan, and Krillin, likely would have been able to defeat Frieza in his first form. However, of course, Frieza would go on to power up and continue to do so through his transformations. Now, in order for Vegeta to try and match up to Frieza, what he ended up doing was getting Zenkai boost after Zenkai boost. However, despite the fact that Krillin blasted Vegeta right through, as we could see here, then he healed, Vegeta still wasn't a match for Frieza, as he went to attack him, not even being able to land a blow, and then when he fired his ultimate full power attack at Frieza, what ended up happening, Frieza just easily kicks it away without being anywhere near his full power, and then proceeds to beat Vegeta basically to death here, once again shattering his pride, until Goku showed up. At this point, Goku had just gotten out of the healing chamber and was way more powerful than before. His power in his base form went all the way from being 90,000 to being 3 million, a massive jump overall. So again, Goku had surpassed Vegeta here, and he only continued to widen the gap because during the fight between Goku and Frieza, what ended up happening? Well, Goku had increased his power up to 20 times higher than his 3 million to 60 million, which still was only a match for Frieza's 50%. However, when Krillin was killed right in front of Goku, after Goku had been put to the point of desperation and also to the point of pure rage, he gave in to those inhibitions of rage. And what ended up happening? He became the legendary Super Saiyan, which propelled his power level to 150 million, 50 times his 3 million, and put him way above Vegeta, where he would stay, being able to defeat Frieza in this arc until, of course, the next arc, where someone would surpass him once again, with that being Vegeta, becoming a Super Saiyan through his years of hellish training, as he goes on to explain, and surpassing Goku in this form, which I talked about in yet another video you could see in the top right. Another cheap plug. You guys love that, I'm sure. And Vegeta would actually stay ahead of Goku for most of this arc, even further widening the gap between them, because what ended up happening was that after Vegeta and Trunks went into the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, or Room of Spirit and Time, he went to fight against Cell. Cell, of course, thought he was nothing compared to him in just his basic Super Saiyan Grade 1 form. But Vegeta would go on to wipe that smile off Cell's face, as he just said, because he became his Grade 2 Super Vegeta, which in turn, a lot of people like to call Ascended Saiyan based upon the dub. But nonetheless, what ended up happening was that Vegeta was vastly more powerful than Cell, and showed that off during this fight before Cell became perfect. And he was way more powerful in this form than Goku and Gohan were, up until, of course, Goku would once again go on to surpass Vegeta when he and Gohan did what here? They stepped out of the time chamber in their Grade 4 mastered Super Saiyan forms, where their base form was vastly more powerful than it was before during their training, and a lot of people like to say that Grade 4 itself also gives them an increased multiplier. I'm going to do a whole video about that at one point, because there definitely is evidence that it's not certainly as clear-cut as people like to make it out to be. But nonetheless, Goku and Gohan were definitely way more powerful than Vegeta and everyone else here on Kami's Lookout, which would go on to be displayed right here as we see when Goku went to power up for Korin so that he'd be able to tell him how Goku matches up to Cell, and he powered up. We could see everyone sensing below them Goku's power, and you can even look at Vegeta's face. It tells the whole story here. He knows that Goku is way above him, despite the fact that he is, in Vegeta's eyes, not necessarily using a form that is up to par with his bulky, powered up Grade 2. And we even see Vegeta here admitting it. Blasted Kakarot, it's always like this. He's always a step ahead of me. Just when I think I've caught up, he widens the lead again. He'll pay for that someday. And that's when he goes into the time chamber again. But despite this, Vegeta does not surpass Goku or Gohan in any of his forms at this point in the story. And really, he never actually does again, at least in the original Dragon Ball manga. Because by the time of the Buu saga, 7 years later, Goku has been training with a dead spiritual body in the afterlife, and Vegeta has been trying to train, I'm guessing equivalent to what he assumes Goku's going to do, maybe because he assumes that he'll die in battle one day or something, then be able to fight him and see who's better. And the two of them became equal only because the fact that Vegeta was utilizing the Majin Boost, which took out all of his potential and power to its maximum, at least at this point, before they just got rid of limits and potential unlocks only became more and more over time. And what do we see right here? Goku says, "Unbelievable, I thought I trained so hard in the afterlife, but we're dead even. You must have trained harder than I did." "No, I thought I did," said Vegeta, "but you're much more gifted than me. I could never make up the difference between us. I finally saw this when you fought Babdi's monster. It was a huge blow, and that's why I made up my mind." Which, of course, is a reference to the power up to become equal to Goku as a Super Saiyan 2, which Vegeta thought was Goku's full power at the time, only to get a rude awakening, when Goku would power up to his Super Saiyan 3, which according to the guidebooks is at least 4 times stronger than Super Saiyan 2, although in universe you can argue what it really is. Overall, the point of the matter is that Goku was once again ahead of Vegeta by a wide margin. And like I said, that would remain the way up until the very end of Dragon Ball Z, as far as we know, where Goku would remain ahead of Vegeta, at least up until Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super. In GT, you can argue that Vegeta became equal to Goku, despite the fact that maybe you can try and argue that Vegeta was technically baby Vegeta and was stronger than Goku at one point, but nonetheless what ended up happening, Goku surpassed him as a Super Saiyan 4, and in Dragon Ball Super, the two have gone back and forth time and time again. But that is every time that Goku surpassed Vegeta. Let me know your own thoughts down below in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it out with your friends, and also don't forget to go down below to the description so you could use my special link in order to get your own Flexispot desk. But with that being said, thanks for watching, and make sure to stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
And you better subscribe!